Hello everybody, I'm the FNAF guy. I wanted to take a little bit of a break from my security breach video to talk about what is currently my most hype fan game in probably the entire series history. That being Fazbear Tycoon. Now anyone that knows me on a personal level outside of, this channel and maybe some rants on Twitter, they will have probably heard me say that I'm not a huge fan of Ultimate Custom Night. I would have much rather had the Infinite Tycoon mode that was discussed by Scott. This game is looking to fulfill what I wanted from that and far more. Not only does it have the first 6 games, but it also has the books, some crossovers with other fan games, and even some original takes on the animatronics. Now, I do want to quickly acknowledge that earlier this month they made a post on their Game Jolt. In that post, they announced that they were going to be starting a lot of their assets from scratch, which, to my knowledge, I believe will be the story, the cameras, that sort of stuff. But with the exception of maybe some of their more outdated models, it seems like they're going to be keeping the models that they have so far, which is very nice because I like a lot of the designs that they've used. In fact, some of them I'd say are even better than what Scott originally did with his games. With that out of the way, I want to say that there are characters I won't be commenting on either due to them not being revealed or me not having much interest in them. If you like what I do here, please throw me a subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. And if you like what you see from this game, go on Game Jolt, follow Fazbear Tycoon, follow Undead Army 1987. They deserve it. They're doing God's work, and I love what I see from them so far. In regards to the FNAF 1 gang, I don't have a whole lot to say. Freddy looks okay. I'm not a big fan of Bonnie's overalls. Chica is honestly up there pretty high. I like the adjustments. They feel like they weren't made in a super obtrusive way. They're different without being jarring, like Bonnie is, for example. Foxy, on the other hand, channels his design from the DLC in Help Wanted, and I quite like it. I'm really, really excited to throw him up on my stage and, just admire all the animations and ultimately get the shit scared out of me in the middle of the night. For the toys, I like the design aspect that they've gone with. They took the suit from Freddy and gave it to Bonnie, but then they also slapped a pair of sunglasses on him, which makes him look like a badass bassist, and I love it. Chica, there's not much I can say. I'm not a huge fan of Toy Chica as is. I feel like the community behind her sort of ruined it for me. But you're making the best out of a bad situation, and I give you props for that. As for Toy Foxy and Mangle, who are both being included, I like it. I dig the design. I like the fact that Mangle maintains that sort of destroyed look, but also has pieces of the original Mangle, plastics attached to it as well. Moving on to the Wizards, we're starting with Freddy. Freddy, he's similar to his FNAF 1 counterpart, but with the exception being that he looks a little bit more like a gangster. I feel like I'd see him in an old-time mafia movie, and that's what I get from all of the Wizards, both Bonnie and Foxy. We haven't seen Chica yet, or at least the wiki hasn't updated to show Chica yet, but Freddy, I like this one significantly more than his FNAF 1 counterpart. You got the bare endoskeleton, you got the ripped pieces of fabric, you got the nice, brownish shirt contrasting with the striped black of his overcoat, and then you got the discolored eyes. I just like it. Overall, it's up there pretty high for me. Then we get to what is probably my favorite one so far. Withered Bonnie. Now this boy, he has a full-on suit, just like his toy counterpart. He doesn't have the sunglasses, obviously. Man doesn't have a face. But he has a nice looking bowler cap. Again, I'm getting very big mafia vibes from this man. And the fact that his face has been ripped off, it just drives the intimidation factor up significantly more than it would have been otherwise. I already like Withered Bonnie. Anyone who knows me will say that Withered Bonnie, outside of Springtrap, is my favorite. So, seeing him done justice like this, thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on to Foxy. Foxy is the one that clinches it. I mean, just look at him. He has a hook that looks like it's made out of crystal. You know, at the very base, you got those little shards poking up. You got jagged bits coming out of the hook. On his actual jacket itself, there's a little skull over the pocket that's supposed to latch it closed. The only real thing that throws me off here is just the fact that his jaw is clipping into his chest, which I would assume is not intentional, but all of the Withereds look absolutely incredible so far. We haven't seen Chica, but I'm sure when Chica comes out, it's going to be badass, and I'm excited to see it. Moving on in the exact opposite direction, Balloon Boy made me turn uncanny. He looks like one of the kids from that 2000s movie Hoodwinked. Motherfucker comes in here. I feel like he's going to ask me for schnitzel, not offer me a free balloon. I'm genuinely scared, but I don't know whether it's for all the right reasons or for all the wrong reasons. Moving on, we got the Marionette. The original Marionette was as simple as it gets, but this redesign is absolutely phenomenal. I really like the fact that it looks like it's in like a sort of nightgown look. I like the cap it has. I like the sort of jacket. It gives me Michael Jackson vibes. I saw someone else say that, and honestly, I gotta agree. It looks so good. And then we get to the piece de resistance. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Bonnie, despite being a shadow, has so much personality in this game. We see something that looks almost akin to Glitch Trap in a way. Big floppy ears, neon blue glowing like whiskers, teeth, nose, eyes, buttons, and a mass of writhing tentacles at the bottom. I don't know what it is specifically about it, but it is up there. I quite like it. Moving on to FNAF 3, we start with Springtrap. Now, I love Springtrap's design from the original. I would argue he's probably the most iconic animatronic in the entire series just because of his design alone. But this design takes it and ramps it up to 11. You can see the mangled bones in his feet if you look at the bottom. You can see his ribs and the organs gushing out of them if you look in the gaps within his chest. You can see the muscles in his arms. It is absolutely terrifying in all the right ways, and I love it. Very well done. Moving on to Phantom Chica, she looks good. Now, this is with all due respect, and honestly, it's not even a bad thing, but she looks like a FNAF AR skin. If they did something akin to a cabin slasher event that was themed off of movies from like the 80s and 90s, I could definitely see this appearing as something that is in reference to Ringu. You know, I definitely get some Sadako vibes from here. I could see it coming out of an arcade cabinet and running at me while screaming its lungs out. Well, not that animatronics have lungs. Moving on to Phantom Puppet. I think this is probably the biggest glow up compared to the original games. Phantom Chica honestly might be a close second, but it just looks like the puppet that we already had, which was an incredibly well done design, but dusty, moldy, mildewy. I don't know what words to use to describe this, but it looks really good, and I really like it. Lastly, we got Fredbear. I mean, it's about what you would expect. It's nothing's particularly standout. I like the cigar it has in its mouth. It definitely gives me the creeps, but Compared to every other Fredbear, it's about what you would expect. And that's not a bad thing. It's just not quite as unique or standout-ish when we have this roster of completely redesigned animatronics to compare to, if that makes any sense. Funtime Freddy is a very mixed bag for me. His actual design itself isn't half bad. I like the little ringleader sort of vibe he's got. The colors look nice, but Bon Bon next to him sort of ruins it for me. I don't like the yellow vest and the green pants together, along with the blue skeleton, or I guess cover. It just doesn't vibe with it as hard. Funtime Freddy looks nice. Bon Bon, on the other hand, I just don't like the colors. And that's going to be sort of a running theme because I don't really like the colors for Funtime Foxy either. It looks okay, but something about it just doesn't feel right to me. It's not as bad as Bon Bon, but it just feels off. Which isn't a problem at all for Lulbit. Lulbit takes Funtime Foxy and runs in the perfectly right direction with it. I love this design. The black suit mixed with the orange shirt underneath, combining that to contrast with the orange muzzle, eyebrows, and little bits for the ears, I really like that. Having the fully black eyes with the white pupils in the middle, really nice. I really like what they did with Lulbit. I can say that Lulbit is 100% going to be up on my stage. If I'm being honest with you, Helpy's eyes, he's got them anime eyes, and they're making me feel uncanny. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say about him. He's just Helpy. He's got a stylistic change to him, but he's not super different from Scott's original design. Trash in the Gang is where things get wild, though. They added new members, but the way that they're done is really cute and endearing. You got Sir Lampington. It's pretty basic. You just slapped a mustache and some googly eyes. It's about what you'd expect. Cardboard Bob, on the other hand, you got the two plastic fingers coming out of the sides. You got a nice looking bow tie, and then they drew an ooh-woo face on it. And I don't know why, but I just find that really endearing. It's cute. I like it. Sue me. Toasty, it's just a toaster with toast that has a smile on it. Compared to Cardboard Bob, not something super of note for me, at least. Gerald, I like. I can't quite tell. It looks... So you got two pieces of rope coming out of the side. You got a cardboard box with some googly eyes. And then you got a nice hat. This motherfucker got a hat. It's nice. I like it. Broadcast Bill. Just like with Cardboard Bob, I quite like it. The little sticky, the little note that's left with a piece of tape hanging off the top and the smiley face with the little party hat. You could say that, Sir Lampington and Toasty have more effort put into them, but I really like it. I like Broadcast Bill a lot. Telly, on the other hand, I understand that it has significantly more, but it just like Helpy, it's making me feel uncanny. Which is good. It's trying to be scary, but like in a comedic way. And the fact that it's coming off as uncanny means that it's doing its job right. I guess it's just the fact that it looks like vaguely human, but like it's nowhere near human, if that makes sense. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Y'all probably think I'm stupid. Anyway, Lefty. Now, Lefty's base design, it resembles the puppet a lot. I like the black, white, gold, and red scheme that it's got going all over it. I think it looks really nice. But then you move on and you see the extension mode, which absolutely blew me away. The fact that it has the long, gangly limbs, the glowing green insides to showcase the rib cage, and the renders that we've seen of it in the actual map, it's just absolutely stupendous. and I love every little bit of it that I've seen. Music Man is a very unique case. I really like what they did by making him look like he's almost like a sort of, he's on vacation. He looks like he's the kind of guy that I would take out to a bar on the beach. We'd have a good time, get drunk, and then we'd end up making fools of ourselves before the end of the night. And frankly, I'm all aboard. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I've gone through FNAF 1 through 6. And I mentioned earlier that the books were involved and that other fan games were involved. Well, here's where I'm going to go over that. So, we have 4 characters confirmed that are from Fazbear Frights. Only one of them has been fully shown, and that's Lonely Freddy. My thoughts on him is that I'm not a huge fan of the actual story, and the design itself doesn't really feel Freddy to me, if that makes sense. But I must commend the design because I like the music player in the belly, and I like the fact that you got a little CD case that's disguised as a pizza case, or pizza box, in his hand. And I quite like that. Later on, we're apparently going to be seeing Fetch, Plushtrap Chaser, and the Stitch Wraith, all 3 of which I am incredibly excited to see. I love all 3 of them. And I also love Chica's Magic Rainbow. The one major render that we've seen of it so far, with it just blocking the player's view, I think that's really both hilarious and terrifying, but not like in an actually scary way. It just sitting there in this sort of dim office with its eyes glowing as it stares the player down is incredible. Now we finally reach crossovers. So far, all we have confirmed is Five Nights at Candy's, Grizzlies, and Tealerland. If there are any others coming, I'm not aware of them, and the wiki does not list them, but I can say that these are fine choices so far. I like to see something like Pop Goes further down the line, but as is, I'm satisfied with it. To round things off, we have Amalgamation Freddy and Feral Ballora. Now, Amalgamation Freddy seems to just be a twist on the Molten Freddy concept, where he is a big pile of parts, absolutely shredded, with Bon Bon sitting on his shoulder. It almost seems to be sort of like the Mangle in a way. And the design is absolutely terrifying. I love it. Feral Ballora, on the other hand, seems to take more from the original concept behind, or not concept, the original theory behind FNAF 3, in that some people thought there was going to be the mixing of parts together to make something entirely new. This one has the head of Foxy, the body of Ballora, and I'm not entirely sure what else, but those fingers are super gangly, and it's giving me the vibes that something else is in here that we haven't seen yet. And I can say that both of these designs, being original to the game, I'm fairly certain, I like a lot. It's really good. Now, I know that a lot of the video is just me saying, oh, this is really good, I like it, over and over again, but that's just because those are my genuine thoughts. If you want to see me get a little bit more negative, well, you only gotta wait a little bit longer, because I'm in the middle of working on something that's gonna... whew, boy. But I appreciate all of you sticking around as long as you have, listening to me just ramble on and fanboy over this fan game. If you like what I do, please throw me a subscribe. If you like the game, again, look up Fazbear Tycoon on Game Jolt, or follow Undead Army 1987 as well. Thank you very much, and have a good night.